Hello, hello. Okay, we are getting started in the beginning, and I'm reading from the scriptures. It restores the original names of everybody in here. So, if you are used to like the King James or any of the other versions, you'll probably be curious about the names that I use. Excuse me. And I probably will butcher a lot of the names because I'm an English-speaking American and not a Hebrew, knowing ancient Hebrew. And so I will do my best, and I will share along. In my introduction, I shared that I'm a whole Bible believer. I believe that everything in this Bible is inspired by the Holy Spirit, and that it's to be taken literally. So I'm going to be starting in the Tanakh. I don't know if that's backwards or not. It might be. The Tanakh is actually the Torah, which is the five first books of the Bible. So it is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and Deuteronomy. And let's see, I'm sorry. Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. And then it's the prophets, and it's Nebaim. That's the prophets. So that's like Isaiah and Jeremiah and all the prophets. And then the Ketubim, which is the writings, like Ecclesiastes and Psalms and Proverbs. So we're going to start in the beginning, Bereshith. And we're just going to go for however long we go. I'm going to try to keep the videos down to about 45 minutes to an hour, and we'll get in as much as we get in, and it's going to take as long as it takes. So welcome. Let's get started. So in the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. Notice he said heavens, multiple heavens. I find that interesting. And the earth came to be formless, empty, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the spirit of Elohim was moving on the face of the waters. And Elohim said, "Let light come to be." And light came to be. And Elohim saw the light that it was good. And Elohim separated the light from the darkness. Now notice, there's no sun and moon, anything like that. Right now, it's just light and darkness. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, one day. So right there, I mean, there's so much in just what those first five. This is why, like on Shabbat, which is our Sabbath that we observe on Saturdays, the sixth day, and you'll see as we get into this why, we start at sundown on Friday, because actually here in the Word, it says, that there was evening and then there was morning, and that's one day. So I believe that the day actually starts at sundown, and there's some beautiful things to that. If you spend your evening as it's the beginning of the day, you can prepare before you go to bed, and when you wake up in the actual morning, you're at peace because you've prepared. Say like my husband, he gets his lunch made, he has his clothes set out, he has everything ready. Or myself, I have my journal next to my bed. I have the Word next to my bed. I have everything prepared so that when I wake up in the morning, I can journal, which my journaling is writing love letters to the Father, talking to Him, listening to Him, receiving from Him, writing it down, and then reading the Word. And so, if we start our day in the evening, we're prepared when we get up in the morning. So anyway, that's just my practice, and just throwing it out there. So anyway, we'll continue at 6. And Elohim said, "Let an expanse come to be in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters. And so basically I picture this an expanse, which is it's translated some as the heavens, and so it's separating the waters. So from what I imagine, and there's just this lots of water, and then all of a sudden something starts to come out and push the waters away. And so, and Elohim made the expanse and separated the waters which were under the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse. And it came to be so. And Elohim called the expanse heavens. So the heavens. And, you know, in reading scripture, there's seven heavens. And so this expanse is the heavens, and it has water above and water below. Let's see, and he called it in heaven. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning on the second day. And Elohim said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together. So you've got the heavens, and then the water that's under the heavens, let them be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it came to be so. So you've got the waters underneath, and all of a sudden they start gathering into the oceans, and then the water and the earth comes up and and separates it, and so let dry land appear, and it came to be so. And Elohim called the dry land earth, and the collection of the waters he called seas. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass, and plant that yield seeds, and fruit trees that yield fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth. And it came to be so. And the earth brought forth grass, the plant that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. Sorry, I'm going to adjust a little bit. There we go. And the earth brought forth, and Elohim saw that it was good. 13. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the third day. And Elohim said, let lights come to be in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and appointed times, and for days and for years. This is where it starts to get really exciting, is that, so let there be lights. So we're talking, the luminaries, the stars, the constellations. And I love this. And separate the day from the night, and the expanse, once again, is the heavens, and then the luminaries are up in the heavens, the lights, and they are for signs. So, I know that we have an eclipse coming next month on April 8th. That's a sign. There's signs in the heavens, and appointed times, the feasts, the Moedim, the appointed times. And so that's where we get the calendars, the lunar, the solar calendars, that tell us when the appointed times are, and for days and for years. So, with the sun going up, the sun going down, and then the days and the months, and the years, it's all in the constellations, in the heavens, the lights. And let them be for lights in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth. And it came to be so. And Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night and the stars. Okay, this is something, and just that I've had questions about. He created two lights. So modern science, or science, tells us that the moon is a reflection of the sun, but the word says that it's a light in itself. Just my own question here of the word says something different than we've been taught. So we've been taught that the moon reflects the sun, but the word says that it's a light in itself. He created two lights, a greater light and a lesser light. And let's see here. Okay, to rule the night and the stars. And Elohim set them in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth. and to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was good. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the fourth day. And Elohim said, let the waters teem with shoals of living beings, and let birds fly above the earth on the face of the expanse of the heavens. And Elohim created great sea creatures and every living being that moves, with which the waters teemed according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim blessed them, saying, be fruitful and increase, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the birds increase on the earth. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the fifth day. And Elohim, now Elohim is plural for El. El is God. There's different gods are called Els, but Elohim is plural, and that will be coming up here shortly. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth living beings according to its kind, livestock and creeping creatures and beasts of the earth according to its kind. And it came to be so. And Elohim made the beasts of the earth according to its kind, livestock according to its kind, and all that creeps on the earth according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image. So there's where the plural, Elohim, let us, more than one. The Father, the Son, the Ruach HaKodesh is Holy Spirit. So let us make man in our image according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heaven, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over all the creeping creatures that creep on the ground. And Elohim created man in his image. In the image of Elohim, once again plural, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And Elohim blessed them, and Elohim said to them, be fruitful and increase, and fill the earth and subdue it, and rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heaven, and over all the creeping creatures of the earth. And Elohim said, see, I have given you every plant that yields seed, which is on the face of the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. To you it is for food. So to me, it sounds like originally we were created to be vegetarians, vegans, eat plants only. And to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the heavens, and to every creeping creature on the earth in which there is a living being, every green plant for food. And it came to be so. So not only humans, but it sounds here like every living creature ate the plants. These are all questions that I have for him when I get there to ask him those questions. So, and Elohim saw all that he had made, and see, it was very good. So, up until this point, it was good. He saw it and it was good. But here it was very good. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the sixth day. Genesis 2, Bereshith 2. Bereshith is actually the original Hebrew name. It means beginnings. And so, 2. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed, and all their array. And in the seventh day, Elohim completed his work, which he had done, and he rested in the seventh day from all of his work, which he made. And so the first day, and this is even our calendars, the first day is Sunday, so the seventh day is Saturday. And in the seventh day, 3. And Elohim blessed the seventh day and set it apart. So he blessed Saturday, the Sabbath. And what's really interesting is in several other countries, the name for their Saturday is things like Sabbath, Sabbath, things that look and sound like Sabbath. So, but he blessed the seventh day and he set it apart. And set apart is, so a lot of your translations will say holy, but holy actually means set apart. So from this translation, you'll hear set apart, but that means holy. Let's see here. He blessed the seventh day and he set it apart because on it he rested from all of his work, which Elohim in creating had made. These are the births of the heavens and the earth. Once again, heavens and earth. They were created in the day that Yahuah Elohim made earth and heavens. Now no shrub of the field was yet on the earth, and no plant of the field had yet sprung up, for Yahuah Elohim had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground. So, a lot of people believe that all of this is chronological, but it kind of jumps around. He gave us Moses, because that's who wrote, and they believe who wrote Bereshith. This is the things that he was getting when he was up on the mountain speaking to Yahuah. And so he gave us the whole account of him creating it. And now he's going through different components and aspects of that time. And so here, there's no plant of the field yet sprung up. For Yahuah Elohim had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground. But a mist went up from the earth and watered the entire surface of the ground. And Yahuah Elohim formed the man out of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of lives. And that's plural, interestingly enough there. And the man became a living being. And Yahuah Elohim planted a garden in Eden to the east, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground Yahuah Elohim made every tree grow that is pleasant to sight and good for food, with the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge and good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to water, and from there it divided in and became 4 heads. The name of the first is Pishon. It is the one surrounding the entire land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. So it's good gold. I guess there's different degrees of gold. Bedulam is there, and Shoham, the Shoham stone, which will come up later in Exodus. And the name of the second river is Gihon. It is the one surrounding the entire land of Cush. Now, interesting in history, Cush, we'll see when we start going through the different generations and stuff about Cush. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. Hiddequel. I don't know I don't know how to pronounce any of these. I'm just guessing. So anyway, it is the one which goes towards the east of Ashur. Ashur. Ashshur. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. Hey, that one sounds familiar. And Yahuah Elohim took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and to guard it. To work it and to guard it. Guard it. Very important there. And Yahuah Elohim commanded the man, saying, eat of every tree of the garden, but do not eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. For in that day you eat it, you will certainly die. Now, my husband and I were discussing this the other day, and Yahuah gave the instruction to Adam. It doesn't say that he gave the instruction to Eve. He gave the instruction to Adam. Anyway, do not eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, for in that day you eat of it, you shall certainly die. And Yahuah Elohim said, it is not good for man to be alone. So see, he gave him that instruction before Havilah, Eve, was even created. So Adam had the instruction, but not Eve. And so maybe that's why she was so easily deceived, because Yahuah hadn't spoken that to her. He had spoken it to her husband. Just something to ponder. I am going to make a helper for you as I am going to make a helper for him as a counterpart. And from the ground, Yahuah Elohim formed every beast of the field and every bird of the heavens and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called each living being, that was its name. So the man gave names to all the livestock and to the birds of the heaven and to each beast of the field. But for the man there was not found a helper for him as his counterpart. So Yahuah Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall on the man, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. And the rib which Yahuah Elohim had taken from the man, he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man. And the man said, "This is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. This one is called woman because she was taken out of man. For this cause," now this is another one that's got me, a question here. "For this cause, a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And they were both naked, and the man and his wife, yet they were not ashamed." This one little sentence in here is so curious to me, because for this cause a man shall leave his father and his mother. Well, there were no fathers and mothers yet at that point. He had just created these two human beings. And so it's like, was this added later? I just don't. Well, I guess by the time Moses got the instructions and wrote all this down, there were plenty of fathers and mothers. So that does make sense. And so it refers that, they will leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, yet they were not ashamed. 3. And the Nahash is serpent. And the Nahash was more crafty than all the lives of the field, which Yahuah Elohim had made. And he said to the woman, "Is it true that Elohim has said, 'Do not eat of every tree of the garden'?" So he is crafty. He's being deceptive here. And the woman said to the Nahash, "We are to eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, 'Do not eat of it, nor touch it, lest you die.'" So could that be, she, I've heard before, Eve added to, the instructions, but she wasn't given the instructions. Kind of like, what's that game we play, Postmaster, where, you whisper into or telegram or telegraph, whatever, where you whisper something into someone's ear and they pass it along. And by the time it gets to the end, it's been changed. And so, Adam told his wife what Yahuah had said, and either he expanded on it or she expanded on it, but someone, added to it that they shouldn't even touch it. Maybe he told her, "Hey, don't go near that tree. Don't touch it. We can't eat it. We'll die." And so that's where that came from, Anyway, so let's see. "Do not eat of it, touch it, lest you die." Chapter 3, verse 4. And the Nahash said to the woman, "You shall certainly not die, for Elohim knows that in the day that you eat of it, your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be like Elohim, knowing good from evil." And the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desirable to make one wise. So she took of its fruit and ate. And she also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. So, she was deceived. She never received the instructions from Yahuah, but Adam did. So Adam, he directly sinned, directly disobeyed an instruction from Yahuah. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made loin coverings for themselves. And they heard the voice of Yahuah Elohim walking about in the garden toward the wind of the day. And this, I've always, the first time I ever read the Bible through, I was 18. I had just gotten saved. I actually read through the King James Version. Nothing like jumping into one of the hardest versions to understand. But that was the Bible that was given to me on my birthday, my 18th birthday, when I got saved. So, but this always, Elohim was walking about in the garden. And it sounds like this was a regular thing, that he would walk in the garden with them. And you just think about, before this, they would walk in the garden and they would talk and discuss things and stuff. And anyway, so he was walking about in the garden toward the wind of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahuah Elohim among the trees of the garden. And Yahuah Elohim called Adam and said to him, "Where are you?" It's just so heartbreaking. And he said, "I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself." Up until that point, he lived freely, innocently, exposed, naked, without any thought to it. And all of a sudden now his eyes have been opened, and now he has shame and he has fear. So the knowledge of good and evil brings in fear and shame, and it's so sad. 11. And he said, "Who made you know that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree of which I commanded you that you should not eat?" And the man said, he wasn't a real man here at this point. He shifted blame immediately and pointed his finger and said, "The woman who you gave to be with me." So he's not only blaming the woman, he's blaming Yahuah himself. He's saying, "The woman that you gave me, you're bad, she's bad, I'm not responsible for this. She gave me of the tree and I ate." Instead of just being a man and being honest and responsible, he tried to shift blame. And Yahuah Elohim said to the woman, "What is this that you have done?" And the woman, she shifted blame and said, "The Nahash deceived me and I ate." Which is true. She actually spoke the truth right here. The Nahash deceived me and I ate. So she, but she shifted the blame onto the serpent, the Nahash. And Yahuah Elohim said to the Nahash, "Because you have done this, you are cursed more than all livestock and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you are to go and eat dust all of the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed." That one needs some serious pondering. We know what the seed of Adam and Eve are. They're all of us. We're all Adam and Eve's seed, the generations, the children. But the Nahash, the serpent, Hasatan, Satan, he has seed also. "He shall crush your head, and you shall crush his heel." And that is the first prophecy foreshadowing of Yeshua HaMashiach, our Messiah. This speaks directly to Yeshua. To the woman he said, "I greatly increase your sorrow and your conception, bringing forth children in pain. And your desire is for your husband, and he does rule over you." I had heard a teaching once that, and your desire is for your husband. This could mean a lot of different things, that she desires to be intimate with him, even though she knows she's going to have pain. We women who've had children, we still have desire to be intimate with our husbands, even though we know that it could lead to the pain of childbirth. But I heard a teaching once, and it was interesting, that your desire is for your husband or your husband's authority, and where women try to usurp their husband's authority. And he shall rule over you, where, especially after the sexual revolution, of the 60s, and women's, women's liberation and all of that. Yeah, we definitely, and in most of my life, it was like, no man's going to rule over me, type thing. But that's how it was designed, is for him to be our head and our covering and rule over us. Anyway, side note there, something just to ponder and pray about and consider. So, 3, verse 17, and to the man he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife. So, he allowed her to usurp his authority, and he went against Yahuah and did what she said instead of what Yahuah said. Because you have listened to the voice of your wife and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, do not eat of it, cursed is the ground because of you. In toil you are to eat of it all the days of your life. So I'm picturing, the Garden of Eden, everything, he tends it and he guards it, and everything's just growing, and they're able to just go pick and eat as they choose and please. But now they have to work, and it's going to be hard. And we all know, all of us that have had jobs, and especially those that I garden, and it's work. And so cursed is the ground, and I have weeds and bugs and all kinds of stuff that I have to contend with in trying to just grow vegetables in my garden. So cursed is the ground because of you. So he cursed the ground, and in toil you are to eat of it all the days of your life. And the ground shall bring forth thorns and thistles for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. Oops, sorry. All right. 19. By the sweat of your face you are to eat bread until you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken, for dust you are, and dust you return. And the man called his wife's name Yahuah, Hawwwah, Yahuah. Probably some people pronounce it Hava, and that's probably that's how I pronounce Hava, because she became the mother of all living. And Yahuah Elohim made coats of skin for the man and his wife and dressed them. Coats of skin. What did they have before? I mean, coats of skin could just be the skin we have. What did they have before? Just throwing it out there. Question. Like I said, I'm going to be sharing with you all the questions that I've had through the decades as I've read the word. And some of them I feel I have answers for, and some of them I do not. And those are the ones I'll be asking when I get there, if he doesn't reveal them to me before I get there. So anyway, so he made coats of skin for the man and his wife and dressed them. And Yahuah Elohim said, see, the man has become like one of us. There's that us again. To know good and evil. And now, lest he put out his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. So it sounds like before this, they would have, because they were allowed to eat from the tree of life. So they were designed to live forever. And then once they disobeyed, there was a limit, even though he lived like 900 more years back in those days. But there was a limit put on to where they were not able to live forever. So anyway, 23. So Yahuah Elohim sent him out of the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken. And he drove the man out, and he placed cherubim, which in a lot of the translations is cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden, and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way of the tree of life. I just always, my brain, I'm picturing it like a lifesaver. And it my brain, to guard the way of the tree of life. So anyway, and so 4. And Adam knew Havah his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, which is Cain. Cain, it's Qayin. And she said, I have gained a man, Yahuah. And again she gave birth to his brother, Habel. And Habel became a keeper of sheep, and Cain became a tiller of the ground. And it came to be in the course of time that Cain brought an offering of fruit of the ground to Yahuah. And Habel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. And Yahuah looked at Habel and his offering, but he did not look at Cain and his offering. And Cain was very wroth, and his face fell. More questions. They only ate vegetables. I mean, they ate produce. They ate plants. What's the purpose of him? Let's see. He became a keeper of sheep. What's the purpose of him keeping sheep? And then he brought it and their fat. So he obviously brought it and slaughtered it. How did he know? What did he? Lots of questions around this whole one here. Just lots of questions. Anyway, and then he did not look at Cain and his offering, and Cain was very wroth. That it's like, and he looked at Habel and his offering, but he did not look at Cain and his offering, and Cain was very wroth and his face fell, so he became disappointed. And Yahuah said to Cain, why is he wroth towards you? And Yahuah said to Cain, why is he wroth towards you? And why is your face fallen? It is not if you do good, you are to be accepted. I'm sorry. Is it not if you do good, you are to be accepted? So there was something in, and I've heard, different things that Cain, he just didn't have the right heart. He didn't bring the best. He just brought whatever, he was selfish and he didn't bring his offering to really honor Yahuah. He just, and whereas Habel did, Abel. So is it not if you do good, you are to be accepted? And if you do not do good, towards the door is a sin. He is lying, and towards you is his desire, and you must rule over him. So meaning temptation and sin is right there at the door, and you need to rule over that, or it's going to rule over you. And Cain told Habel his brother, and it came to be when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Habel his brother and killed him. So the first murder. And Yahuah said to Cain, where is Habel your brother? And he said, I do not know. Am I my brother's guard? And he said, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. And now you are cursed from the earth, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. If you till the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. You shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth. And Cain said to Yahuah, my punishment is too great to bear. See, you have driven me from the face of the ground today, and I am hidden from your face. So see here, it's important to Cain that now all of a sudden, he's hidden from Yahuah's face. I shall be a fugitive and wanderer on the earth, and it shall be that anyone who finds me kills me. And Yahuah said to him, well, if anyone kills Cain, he shall be avenged sevenfold. And Yahuah set up a sign for Cain, lest anyone finding him strikes him. I always am so curious as to what that sign is. and where it was. Just it's so interesting. I mean, did something on his forehead? Was he marked in some way? More questions. Anyway, okay, so it avenged sevenfold, and Yahuah set up a sign for Cain, lest anyone finding him strikes him. So Cain went out from the presence of Yahuah and dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife. So where did his wife come from? More questions. And she conceived and bore Hanok. And he built a city and called the name of the city after his son Hanok. And to Hanok was born Irad. And Irad brought forth Mehuel. And Mehuel brought forth Methuselah. Methuselah. And Methuselah brought forth Lamech. And these names are going to start to tie together. And Lamech took for himself 2 wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the second was Sila. Tsillah. And Ada born Yabal. He was the father of those who dwell in tents with livestock. Okay, so, this is, let's see here. Canaan, they had Hanok, and then Irad, and Mahaliel, and then Methuselah, and Lamech. So 6 generations from Cain, his grandson, great-great-great-great-grandson, Lamech. And you have to realize that all of these people lived for hundreds and hundreds of years. So these 6 generations are all still alive. So Lamech took for himself 2 wives. Okay, so we got the 2 wives. And Ada born Yabal, and he was the father of those who dwell in tents with livestock. And his brother's name was Yubal. He was the father of all those who play the lyre and the flute. As for Silla, she also bore Tubal-Cain, a smith of all kinds of tools in bronze and iron, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was Nama, Nama, N-A-A-M-A-H, Nama. And Lamech said to his wives, and I heard a story about this, and I don't know the exact details, but I forget who it was that he actually killed. I think it could have been Cain. I'll have to do some research. But anyway, Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, "Hear my voice, wives of Lamech, listen to my words, for I have killed a man for wounding me, even a young man for hurting me." Oh, no, that's right. I don't remember the story. For Cain is avenged 7-fold, and Lamech 77-fold. And Adam knew his wife again. I found this is interesting to where he just assumes, okay, so if anyone were to kill Cain, that he would be avenged 7 times, but Lamech decided that, he gets to be avenged 77 times if someone kills him. Anyway, and Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and called his name Sheth. For Elohim has appointed me another seed instead of Habel, because Cain had killed him. Because you think about it, Hava and Adam, they have no sons. They have no sons at this point because Cain had to leave, and Habel is dead. So now they have Sheth, and to Sheth, to him also a son was born, and he called him Enosh. Then it was began to call on the name of Yahuah. So that generation, so 3rd generation, Sheth's lineage starts to call on Yahuah, whereas the other one, Cain didn't. And his they created other tribes, and so, but Sheth is dedicated and calls on Yahuah. So we're about at 44 minutes. I'm going to stop here because then we get into the genealogies, some genealogies. So I'm going to stop here. I'll start the next chapter 5, and we'll go from there. But I hope that you're blessed. If you can add in any stories you've heard or things that you've read that can answer any of these questions that I've brought about, put it in the comments below. This channel is new. I'm excited to get it started, and I'm so excited to be reading the Word. It's good for me. It's good for those of you that listen. So thank you for joining me, and be blessed and have a fabulous day. Bye.